So, do you find narcissism more in men, more in women, equal?
Good question. In my background, in my experience, I think I've seen more extreme narcissistic behavior from men. I can do this better. Or because that person doesn't really know what they talk about. If she did this, or if she would act like this, we wouldn't have these problems. So there's a blame effect.
Welcome to Beyond the Sugarcoat. Hey, Sugar Fam. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Sugarcoat. Today I'm sitting with Nathan Fair, an interventionist, and we're going to be talking about an interesting topic today that affects many people: narcissism. Hi, Nathan.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me.
You're quite welcome.
Narcissism. Can you tell me what that is?
Lengthy description. I'll try to keep it somewhat short. Narcissism, or a person who displays narcissistic tendencies and behavior, basically is a person who feels privileged and special and more special than everyone else. They think they're old things. They think that everything they do is better than the other person. They think they're smarter. They are very entitled. They are extremely defiant when confronted or approached about situations. They're know-it-alls. Okay. They become very, very negative and demonstrative when they're confronted with a different approach or a different thought process. They demand attention. They think that everything is supposed to be their way. So I think it's easier for one to envision a person, be it a companion or associate, a friend, a boss, a spouse, that displays, I am right about everything and you're not. That's the easiest way to look at a narcissistic person.
So, do you find narcissism more in men, more in women, equal?
Good question. In my background, in my experience, I think I've seen more extreme narcissistic behavior from men
Why is that?
because society dictates that men control things.
And men should be macho and they know it
And
all.
men need to be in charge. And for the most part, they are in charge.
Do you think this is society's doing?
Sure. I think it's been like that for an extreme long period of time. Our society is based on men hold the extremely higher positions. That's evident.
Right.
That companies are run mostly by men. That's evident. That our society dictates and believes that men need to run and be in charge of the household, which is ridiculous, but it's pretty evident. That men are better athletes, that men are better, how would I say, instructors, that men are better in almost every capacity. So if you're always indoctrinated with that thought process from the time you're a young person, you're going to carry that on into your developing years, your grown-up years, your older years. And because society sort of has promoted that, it's very complicated for men to break through and say, oh, well, maybe I need to be a little bit more equal in my thought processes and in my behavior. Most men are not either educated, trained, developed, or used to doing that. So they're not going to.
Or they may have a narcissistic family they come from, so they know that that's
Well, they can
how
have a
they're
history
supposed
on
to
it.
be.
Yeah, you can have a history of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, if you got, grandpa, father,
Yep.
everybody else, uncles, and everybody's displayed those tendencies and those behaviors, it's easy for you to display those too.
So can a narcissist, like for a person to recognize a narcissist, let's say a wife, for instance, let's say the husband seemed to display pretty good behavior and all that for quite a number of time, but all of a sudden snaps. Do they just become a narcissist, or is that
No.
something that's already in
I don't
them?
think people become narcissists all immediately. You see patterns of behavior that show you that a person is acting out and developing narcissistic traits. Okay, so say you have a disagreement, a husband and his wife. Well, if the husband's saying, okay, I'm not willing to listen to your perspective, and only my perspective is the one that we're going to pay attention to, and I'm right regardless. And we're not going to even have a conversation about this. That's a narcissistic behavior.
They don't even want to work on it, listening, because
Why?
they just think
Because
they're
I'm right.
So how should women deal with this?
Well, I think it's very complicated because sometimes women are sort of sucked into a situation where they're dependent on that male. It could be financially, could be physically, emotionally, a lot of different things in regards to their household,
Mhm.
regards to their children, to their survival. So they're going to succumb to some of that behavior and just say, okay, well, this is the way men are.
They make
You
excuses.
make excuses, you rationalize, you justify. Saying this is the way men are is an out.
Mhm.
Okay, it's an excuse.
And it's an
And it may
encouragement.
be the way men are, but that doesn't mean that it's the way men are supposed to be.
Right. And it encourages the man to think, okay, I am
Yeah,
right in this behavior because this woman is allowing me to get away with it.
absolutely. And other people have allowed that person to get away with it.
Mhm.
Now, women can be narcissists too. I'm not going to say that that
Right.
doesn't exist because it does exist. But society certainly is based different where men have more power,
Mhm.
which promotes more of this behavior.
Can you give me a few examples of clients that had narcissism, that the situation that you had to deal with?
Well, I think there's lots of situations where if you go into, say, an intervention or an assessment or a therapeutic concept, doing any kind of counseling with a person, say a couple,
Mhm.
and you say, I want you to present your issues. And say the spouse, let's say a woman, will present the issues of saying, well, we don't communicate well. Um, we can't talk because when I say something, I get shut down. Nothing I say is even remotely heard. So if you're not heard, then everything you say is pretty much non existent. And the male says, okay, well, what she says doesn't matter, or it's always wrong. And this is why. And they give you demonstrations or illustrations of, well, because I can do this better, or because that person doesn't really know what they talk about. If she did this, or if she would act like this, we wouldn't have these problems. So there's a blame effect
So they don't
that
take
goes on. They don't take
accountability.
accountability for anything.
Are narcissists charming overall? So
Oh,
people,
God, yes.
that's what I've noticed.
They're marvelous actors. They are wonderful with people. And that's how they get into, um, I think, people's psyche
Yeah.
and people's lives. Okay. You can see narcissists are elaborately charming. You know,
Yeah.
they seem like they're genuine. And to their, I think, credit, they think that they're genuine. Okay. So they think they're doing good things. They think they're good people. Um, and then once they get you sort of in that little web, then you see a lot of behaviors that come forth
Right.
that you didn't expect or you didn't see before. There's a lot of calculation with narcissistics um, people. I think there's also goes into the sociopathic premise
Mhm.
of that some people enjoy being in that category and they plan and it's all about me all the time, me syndrome. And sociopaths and narcissistic people are pretty much related in some aspects.
Wow. Do you think that they're narcissistic also because they have a low self-esteem? Or do they
They try
have
to
a
deny the low self-esteem. I think they do, but they get rid of it or they hide it, and they don't want to admit that. So they build all these other premises around themselves that they're important and that they do all these wonderful things and that people see them and look at them in high regard. And for the most part, they're fairly weak people, very fragile
Yeah.
emotionally.
Yeah. Hey, sugar fam. Looking for the perfect sweet escape? I'm loving sugar. Candied oranges, lemon and chai spiced loaf, rich rum-soaked fruitcake, and indulgent Dubai chocolate melting pure luxury in your mouth. Ideal for gifting, sharing, or savoring solo. Click the link to deliciousness. We're grateful to collaborate with a circle of amazing partners who make this journey even sweeter. Is there a cure for narcissism? Like, how do you get over this?
Narcissism therapy is complicated because you have to get that person to recognize that I am demonstrating behaviors that are truly harmful to other people and that I act almost like a little dictator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that everything I say is the way it should be. And for a person to give up that control and power is very complicated and very difficult. And so there has to be sometimes a major event that promotes that change. So it could be where, there's a legal issue that promotes that change. It can be where there's a major family issue that promotes that change. Someone saying, okay, we're just leaving, we're not here anymore. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but for most narcissists, they'll try to find someone else.
That's called a supply,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
how does that work?
So they'll just look for another person that can, be put into that same situation.
Do they relatively find these
Yeah,
supplies quickly?
I think there's a lot of people, I don't know about quickly, but I think they'll put in their time and energy,
Right.
to find someone else that, especially if they're financially appropriate and they can sort of apply someone into their little web. Okay. Okay. Basically, because I have money, I have some status, things of that nature.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of people who, like I say, they're genuinely charming
Right.
that will fall into that situation and then they're stuck.
Wow.
Narcissistic, unfortunately, we have lots of narcissistic people.
Yes.
Yeah, we really do.
I laugh internally as you're telling the story because you and I have encountered narcissistic people together.
Yes, we have.
And I can totally understand the behavior you're talking about. The I am right, I know everything, and not allowing other people to talk or have a chance. Like we have witnessed that together.
It's very complicated to get those people to
Yeah.
realize where they are. Sometimes they don't care, they don't want to. And the best thing for people who are involved in that situation is to get out.
Get out. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no hope. And if there is,
Sometimes there isn't.
it's going to take a really long
it takes
time.
an extremely long period of time. And guess what? Is your life
Right.
worth that length of time that it takes for someone to change their behavior, not knowing if they're actually going to change?
Right. So you've probably seen a lot of families destroyed by this.
Quite a few. Yeah. But a lot of families are just stuck in it and they stay in it. And you see it affect not only that spouse, but their children and other people, because they're either unwilling or unable to get out of the situation.
So the best advice to tell someone who's dealing with a narcissist, I think what I'm hearing is get out.
Well, individual therapy.
Yeah.
Because you need someone to help you learn how to cope and recognize
Is that
symptoms.
for the
That's
person
for the person
that's
affected
through?
by it, yes.
Yeah.
To learn how to cope and recognize situations because you think that that's maybe normal.
Yeah, and you don't want to recognize it.
Yeah.
Like I was told certain things about a narcissistic person, and I'm like, no, there's no way.
Absolutely. You may care about that person, think that they're
Yeah.
doing wonderful things. Okay. You don't even realize what's going on
And that's the thing, you
in your
fall
situation.
into the trap of remembering all the good things. You're like, there's no way this person can be like that. But you have to take things at face value. If they are demonstrating it, they are demonstrating it.
Right.
So
And it takes time to be able to recognize those symptoms and those behaviors. And individual therapy may be the best thing for that person to even be able to open up and see what's going on.
right. Is there a specific type of individual therapy they should be doing? Like I hear about CBT, I hear about all kinds of
Not necessarily. I think reality therapy is like here and now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you put down the things that are happening in your life. Are these good or bad? Could these be better?
Right.
What do you need to do to change some of those things? I mean, here and now stuff, reality therapy is very important and very right in your face. These are the things that are going on right now. Are these good things? Are these bad things? Are these things going to change?
Mm-hmm.
How do I change them? Is there hope for change?
Wow.
And then you make decisions from there.
Wow, this was a really good conversation, narcissistic behavior. And I know it's just like a top of the beginning of touching it. We just don't have that much time. But if you're dealing with someone who's a narcissist, or you might even be a narcissist yourself, you will definitely want to start by getting help. So thank you so much, Nathan.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us on another episode.